All right, let's talk about the film industry, China's film industry, that is. Now, consistent with China's phenomenal economic growth, experts say its film market is expected to become the world's biggest in 5 years' time. Now, that's in terms, though, of revenue. How about Chinese films? Are they set to compete in the world in both quality and box office appeal? Well, let's discuss the quality angle first. With the likes of Ang Lee, Chen Kai-ge, and Zhang Yimou, there's no doubt Chinese films have established their art house pedigree. And if ever there's more proof of that, take a look at the latest accolade as reported by the China Daily. The film The Grandmaster swept 12 categories at the 33rd Hong Kong Film Awards. This included Best Film, Best Director, Best Leading Actress, and Best Supporting Actor. The film also broke the record for most wins awarded to a single film at the awards. The previous record was 9 wins held by Cold Wars and Comrades, Almost a Love Story. Few were surprised when Zhang Ziyi won Best Actress. This was her 9th award she has received for her role as Geng Er. Well, certainly impressive to say the least. Clearly, much of the world, especially the coveted Western world, remains oblivious, though, to Chinese films as this and others. But film noir is one area that China's filmmakers have won international acclaim for. Well, here are some of the most critically acclaimed examples of late 20th century world cinema. Zhang Yimou's first film, Red Sorghum, which depicted the hardships of peasant life in the 1930s. There's The Horse Thief, a stark, haunting film about Tibetan nomads. And Chen Kai-ge's King of Children, about the school teacher during the Cultural Revolution. Now, despite critical acclaim, Zhang and Li are concerned that the mainland Chinese film industry is rapidly mass market oriented. Well, here's what he said at a speaking engagement in New York City, as reported by the China Culture Daily. Zhang cautioned that the Chinese industry needed to place less emphasis on profits and popcorn movies, and noted a lack of current Chinese films that were full of imagination, as well as good novels and stories to use as sources. He says it's easy to say China has good movies, but difficult to do it. For his part, Li said he's worried that mainland Chinese film, after a long fallow period, was growing too quickly, with too great a focus on box office blockbusters. Now, one possible reason for this general attitude is China enjoys economies of scale. I mean, 1.3 billion people is more than enough to go by, right? Well, that means many local filmmakers are immune to the overseas market. From a purely crass commercial perspective, that makes sense. But remember, filmmaking is first and foremost an art form, whose message should have universal appeal. Well, this is certainly a tough call for a purist, but no sweat at all for the hopeless pragmatist. The question is, are Chinese films really dominating the local market? Here's how Chinese film producer Alina Chu sees it in a South China Morning Post article. Even last year, which saw the best performance in history of domestically produced movies, foreign titles still accounted for more than 40% of the box office income. Chinese filmmakers have also been working hard at producing great movies to compete with Hollywood on home turf. But the market grows at a much higher rate than the industry, creating a huge shortage of qualified filmmakers, writers, directors, and actors. To make up for this gap, Chinese film companies and funds have been trying to buy Hollywood. They have offered partial financing to Hollywood films in exchange for embedding Chinese elements in their productions, but only to find those Chinese scenes almost all cut out in the versions for global release. Now, pressed between high hopes and hard realities, what are Chinese film producers to do? If my own experience working across barriers between the Chinese and U.S. film industries has taught me anything, I would say follow the market and play our best hand instead of forcing something that isn't ready. For one thing, we should strive to serve the domestic market. The content can be localized, but the way the films are made and the stories told are universal. Well, at least one Chinese film has succeeded, though, in bridging the gap between quality and mass market appeal, as the Changchun Daily reports. The box office success of Black Coal Thin Ice has raised cinema's confidence in art films. The Chinese production, which won the Golden Bear for Best Film at the 2014 Berlin International Film Festival, has taken $16 million since it hit domestic screens on March 21st. This is a rare box office success for an art movie, minority cinema in China, where only commercial movies draw large audiences. The prize undoubtedly helped. Black Coal cost about 14 million yuan, or a little over $2 million to make, with reportedly another 20 million yuan, or upwards of $3 million on publicity. It's difficult to estimate how big the art movie industry is in China. That's because there's no absolute definition of the genre, and box office is a sore point for art film makers. And that's today's national news, but when we return, around the world, a look at China's global footprint.